When the crisis exploded, the first year was the year of indignation, emotionalism, condemning Russia for its aggressive behavior, sympathy for Ukrainian situation. Now it's almost like, okay, what is the room for we can do to change this situation, to improve the situation, or to prevent it from further deterioration? One thing that clearly stands out, that for 20 more years since 1990-91, Germany played a pretty special role in Europe in trying to reach out to Russia as a successor to the Soviet Union, trying to do many things to help to integrate Russia into a European project of sorts. And that came to the end in 2014. And right now, the situation looks really bleak from this perspective. Russia is being criticized in German media. The tone towards Russia changed dramatically. And if we extrapolate it into the future, it looks pretty much like the beginning of a new phase when Germany gave up on Russia, and German public opinion changed the whole language about Russia from the language of gratitude, basically focused on Gorbachev and the Soviet Union and the role that Gorbachev played in Germany's unification, to a more familiar language of a little bit orientalizing Russia as a big, not so distant, but kind of threatening and unpredictable country that is not like us. So this trend may continue. This trend does not portend well for the relationship between Germany and Russia and Europe and Russia. And this trend sort of coincides with the concerns and historical memories of some other countries that are closer to Russia, such as in particular Poland and the Baltic states. I don't think many people want to see this development, but so far, minus major political changes in Russia or major political changes in Europe and Germany, we kind of see this trend continuing into a few years maybe, until something else comes to change this perception of Russia in Germany. The consensus in the group was that there's no way there will be status quo in 10 years, because we see before our eyes changes so profound, so unpredictable, and so rapid accumulating that it's hard to predict what will be political mood in Europe in 2 years from now, not to mention 10 years. So if, for instance, the right-wing party's anti-immigration movement will grow in the next 2 years to such a degree that these parties will become parts of the political landscape, changing policies of Europe, who knows? We're talking about serious things. We're talking about the stability of European Union itself, financial, economic, and political. To a certain extent, this is what the current leadership in Russia counts on, expecting that basically Russia doesn't need to change to improve the situation. Europe will change, and then we'll talk. So what's interesting, it looks like Russia and Germany, Russia and EU are both waiting for the situation to change, but they're waiting for the other side to change. And it looks a little bit like the politics of attrition. We'll outweight you. I mean, you will come around, not us. And it's on both sides. Well, I would say the most specific issue is behavior of Russia towards Ukraine, and of course the intentions of Russia towards what Russia calls near abroad, particularly the Baltic states. But I think most important issue is what will happen to Ukraine. And Ukraine is not now in the focus. It's overshadowed by the crisis with the Syrian refugees, it's the crisis between Russia and Turkey, the war in Syria, all these things. But Ukraine will stay as a big issue. The best determinant of Russia's motives and Russia's behavior. One troubling thing is when we looked at the situation in Ukraine, how little of agency Ukraine has in all this developing drama. I mean, very little that Ukrainian government can do, for instance, to change the terms of relationship between the EU, Russia, and Ukraine. Even the Minsk II agreements that the press talks about were not written by the Ukrainian government. These agreements basically is something that Ukraine and Russia must observe, but mostly Ukraine, because it's about the Ukrainian constitution, about the situation in the eastern Ukraine. So Ukraine is placed, because of its weakness, because of its internal instability, in the position of being more an object rather than a subject of international affairs. And it's very troubling because, you know, in a sense, Ukraine suffered most from what happened there in 2014.